My 28M husband, 27M, just came out as straight. So we've been married for like 3 years and dated for about 2. In total, 5 years of a gay relationship. We're 2 men, have always been 2 men, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. My husband and I have had a rather healthy relationship for the most part. Of course we have minor arguments every now and then, but what relationship is perfect? In the end we always resolved them and our affection would continue as normal. This is kind of why I'm really confused by what's going on with us. Why now? I'm a Christian. I know a lot of people don't like the idea of that, but gay Christians do exist. My husband was agnostic, not necessarily an atheist, just wasn't completely on board with any religion. And that's fine, I would have supported him if he found peace in literally anything. He didn't need to become a Christian, and honestly, as selfish as this sounds, I wish he didn't. I know this makes me sound like a terrible person, but he changed so drastically afterwards and I miss the man he used to be. It was a slow start. He asked me about verses from the Bible, we went to church, he even fasted for Lent. Christmas this year was much more than just presents, and I was happy that I had this piece of me to share with him now. I was raised religious and struggled with my identity. If it weren't for other queer Christians, I would have left Christianity. I was glad that I still had these things we could bond over, but it kept ramping up. All of a sudden, he's going to church more than I am. Which is perfectly fine, is always carrying a Bible with him, and will randomly cite a verse when we're having political discussions. I've noticed his views have started to shift towards the right as well, and recently retweeted someone saying, "Your body, my choice. You're a twink, women's reproductive rights don't concern you in the slightest?" It kept ramping up. He started agreeing with the whole LGBT-the-T crowd, and started spewing harmful rhetoric about drag queens. As if we aren't friends with a bunch of them. When I told him that drag queens are much less likely to harm children than some pastors, he lost his shit saying I was a heathen, and that his friends were right. This is the part that caught my attention. What friends? I asked him what he meant by that, and he started backtracking, saying he was tired and that we should go to bed. I was tired, and arguing didn't seem like it'd do us any good right now, so I put a pin in it and we got ready for bed. Our room has a bathroom connected, and usually we keep the door open. He takes a shower and makes sure to lock it, which was weird, but I didn't say anything about it. If he wants to set this boundary down, that's fine, but he could at least communicate it, YK. The next day is a Sunday, and he's already out of bed and I'm assuming at church. I get up and got ready, but once I arrived I realized he wasn't there. That confused me, so after the service I called him asking him where he was. He tells me he's in church, but I told him I was here too and didn't see him. He clarifies he means this the other, I'm not going to say the denomination because I don't want to cause any arguments, church. This was news to me, especially because he never brought it up and still carried our Bible. I told him to send me the address and I'll pick him up so we can get brunch, but he tells me that he doesn't want his friends seeing me. That hurt. I asked him if we could at least meet up and he said he'll see me at home. After a few hours, he finally comes home. He says we need to talk, I agreed. I wanted to ask him why he didn't want his friends seeing me. And as I opened my mouth to ask the question he said, "I'm straight." I stared at him for a bit, and he continued, explaining that his church helped him realize he wasn't going to see the kingdom of God if he continued living in sin and that he needed to leave me as soon as possible. He told them about the pastor comment I made last night, and they said that I was a devil trying to lure him away from Christ. He started repeating a lot of the same rhetoric I heard from other Christians growing up, and it really upset me. He even said that I could be saved, and that I already had the traditionally masculine look, and that I just needed to steer away from homosexuality. I feel like I'm in an alternate reality right now. I'm being told by the love of my life that I'm a devil that needs to return to Christ because I shut down his homophobic rhetoric. My gay husband is being homophobic. I'm sorry, but not once in the 5 years we've been together did he realize he was suddenly straight? It just doesn't work like that. It's not like we're in some other universe where comphomo is a thing, right? I told him that he needed to leave and that we could discuss arrangements afterwards. I still want him, I love him. But I have no idea how he could look at me with a straight face and tell me all of that. He started arguing saying that he didn't want to leave and that we could be friends, so I told him that I wouldn't be friends with a self-hating queer for the life of me. He packed a bag and left. His location shows he's at some random house I've never been to, but I assume that's one of the churchgoers he's friends with. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do from here. Did I seriously just lose my husband? I don't understand how this could happen. What can I do now? I miss him already. Dude, the best thing you can do is let him go. This is a really tough situation, but it's past your control. Do yourself a favor and let him leave. He's not worth it. You deserve somebody who loves you for you. Run. He's doing conversion therapy and you do not want to be on that journey. Him. Just wait till he starts banging one of his new dude friends. Things will unravel pretty quick. You just keep being who you are and true to what you believe. People do change, for the better, for the worse. Sometimes there are reasons, other times not. Just remember who you are and mourn the loss when it gets to that point. You will survive this and be better for it. I feel so sad for you. He is not straight, I assure you. But he is in crisis and being very deluded, but I don't know that there's anything that you can do about it. Except take care of yourself. Maybe there are some friends from your church community that can reach out to him and give him a better perspective. Religious psychosis is a real thing. Whoever got into his head at the church along with this conversation therapy nonsense are really dangerous, and I think what's safest for you is to distance yourself ASAP. Lean on friends and family and separate. I'm so sorry this is happening, this is really awful. My wife found Jesus and asked for a divorce because she didn't want to be a homosexual anymore. Didn't keep her from being a narcissist, but she didn't want to be gay. Right? Mind you, she's the one that wore men's clothes, underwear, dressed, looked and acted like a man. We divorced, and as far as I know she's still at her church telling them how she turned away from homosexuality. There is no way back from where they are. They feel they must be straight or celibate in order to be accepted by God. We know better. I'm so sorry it happened to you too. Life goes on. Rainbow flag people hugging. I think that my 25M wife, 23F, thinks that I murdered her ex. About a month ago while out shopping my wife and I ran into her high school boyfriend and his mom on the street. It was a slightly awkward encounter. His mom made a comment about how good they looked standing next to each other, like it was meant to be. We said we were in a bit of a hurry, and as we were walking away he said something along the lines of, "Hey, we should grab coffee sometime." I didn't think too much of it at the moment. Sure, his mom was awkward, but they'd been broken up for about 7 years and I do think he meant it to just be friendly. But still we had a quick check-in after where we both agreed it was awkward, and that I wasn't too upset, and that I wouldn't even necessarily mind them meeting for coffee provided that if it became clear he still had feelings or was making advances she'd cut him out. She wasn't even sure she'd want to take him up on it, so it was purely hypothetical. That evening I met up with some friends for drinks and was home at 1 a.m. The next morning my wife got message from her friend that her ex died that night. We got a few more details over the next couple days, but it seemed he suffered from epilepsy and that night in freak accident had a seizure, fell and fatally hit his head. A fake, there's no foul play suspected or criminal investigation or anything like that. In the weeks since she started acting really strange. She hasn't been abnormally sad that he died, but more like cautious and fearful around me. She hasn't made any kind of direct accusation, but had been asking me a lot of questions about where I went drinking with my friends, who I was with, what time each person arrived and left, etc. She's lately mentioned that she wanted to spend some time with a friend, to catch up for about a week. I don't know how to address this. It feels crazy to have to ask her whether she thinks I murdered him, or to have to tell her that I didn't. I'm afraid to even bring it up, and whether that would just feed into whatever she seems to be going through. Any thoughts on how to deal with this? For the record, I didn't murder her ex. Edit. Thanks for the feedback. Just wanted to throw up a quick update. I am going to ask her when I get home from work. I always knew it needed to be a conversation, just needed to hype myself up to actually do it, and figure out how I wanted to approach it. We'll let you know how it goes. You don't need to ask her that. You need to ask her why her demeanor towards you has changed. Communicate. What if she was the one who did it and it's acting cautious and weird because of it? Think about it, it all makes sense. I will try to communicate this with her and with someone who she'd trust, like her mom or best friend. Tell her that you are worried because you noted her different since the death of her ex and try to ask for her feelings and what has happened in her head since. I don't think this is what she is thinking necessarily, it's what you think she thinks. Considering he died after she just saw him, I would expect some grieving and because of it being aloof, etc. That is a wild conclusion to jump on her end. Very bizarre. I honestly couldn't trust her at all after this. Know that you have an alibi, people to confirm where you were, and tons of evidence proving you didn't do anything. But that is insane. Keep all the evidence you have of your whereabouts. This would make me very disturbed and I would not continue this relationship. All I can say is wild. 49M. Why would married man jokingly do this to a married woman? 47F. Thank you everyone for your time and inputs. I appreciate you insights, especially the few who tried to show me the situation in a non-negative way. I've started talking openly about this issue with her and using this opportunity to break the ice that has isolated the two of us over the years, and will post an update soon, for those who asked. Thank you all again for sharing with me some perspectives I did not see before. Just discovered more, and it only gets better from here. Need time to process and put them into words. When I looked at the details of the tickets, I saw a name of my wife's only male colleague as the ticket purchaser. When I asked why she had 2 tickets, she said it was because the other ticket is for a female coworker that she will be picking up before the show. He bought tickets for her and her friend? Does that make sense to you? She cancelled on him because you basically found out. Going with him is too risky at the moment. Share the joke with that guy's wife. She'll get to the bottom of it for sure. Tears of joy. You are a married man, you can answer your own question. Would you send a silly goofy post-it note to another woman, whether she's married or not? I suppose you know other married men too. Under what circumstances would any of them do such a thing? My bigger concern is that your wife hadn't mentioned the tickets to you in a week. And there's this perfect excuse of a female coworker tagging along with her. I wouldn't even be suspicious if she came up to me and told me herself that her and the male coworker were going to this play together. It's the secrecy that's indicative of something else, and you already know it. I can't believe nobody else is asking this. Why did she keep the Valentine? I feel like if there was nothing going on between them, she'd throw that out right after opening it and just keep the tickets in the envelope. But no, she kept the Valentine. I think it's meaningful to her. Sorry, Op. She is either fucking her coworker already or entirely prepared to do so. You need to have a come-to-Jesus conversation with her, asking direct questions and demanding clear and unambiguous answers. She will likely refuse, giving you the ability to say that you will be moving out and seeking legal advice on divorce proceedings immediately. I know, by the way, that you say that you have never gone through her handbag before. What made you want to recently? Man, you missed the opportunity to show up at the show to bust them. And she asked if you sent her flowers, likely because she was hoping you got them for her. We all know she's not picking up a female friend for the show. I see you posted she didn't go. There's only one reason why she got that note and ticket from a coworker, and it's not platonic. She's having an emotional affair at minimum. It may already be physical. You probably need to have a hard conversation. Share with her this looks like an emotional affair. Ask her how it would feel if the roles were reversed. Ask her to go no contact with this person. If she refuses to go no contact, then she's choosing him over your marriage. She is aware that you're on to her, them, and it's likely she's gonna be more covert about her actions. Check her phone. Look into the dude. He got a wife? The wife may want to know about the situation. You need to be vigilant. Trust your gut. Am I, M40, being unreasonable asking my wife, F35, to move for 2 years for life-changing money? Am I being unreasonable asking my wife to move for 2 years for life-changing money? We've been married for 7 years, and my wife is a stay-at-home mom to our 2 kids under 5. We live comfortably in a desirable BC city, renting out our basement suite to help make it work. All my immediate family is within 90 minutes, and her widowed mom lives in the same city. I recently took a 20% pay raise to join a smaller company that values me highly. They're expanding to Prince George and want someone there full-time to build the business. They're offering checkmark free housing for 6+ months. Checkmark massive salary increase, 2-3x my current pay, checkmark career growth that secures our future. With 2 years of this, we could buy a home almost mortgage-free when we return to the Okanagan, ensuring my wife can stay home with the kids long-term, her biggest priority. But she refuses to move, even for a short time. She's worried about safety, losing family support, and not having friends. I offered to fly her mom up every 4-6 weeks, but she still says no. I see 2 years as a short-term sacrifice for lifelong security. She sees it as impossible. Am I being unreasonable? Have you been in a similar situation? How did you make it work? Edit. Thank you to everyone who shared your thoughts and advice. It was helpful to have everyone share their perspective. I don't have time to respond to everyone, but am in the process of reading all the responses. We are going to continue to work this out and find a solution that works for our family. Are you both listening to each other's reasoning or sticking your heels in your own reasonings? You are valuing the money as security and she is valuing stability as security. Are you acknowledging how her entire life will change? You will be going to be work every day, so there is some semblance of normalcy for you. But everything about her normalcy will change. Not just for this move, but in 2 years also. So why not take the job and leave your wife at home, flying back to see your family every so often? Having kids is extremely isolating, especially with 2 kids under 5. Moving to a new area where she has, as you stated, no support is a huge ask, even with a large wage increase, considering it sounds like she is currently a stay-at-home mom. For the record, the 2 years and we move back can easily go the other way. As in 2 becomes 3, 4, 5, etc. Securing your future would come at the cost of wife's already taxed mental and physical well-being. Is this worth it to you? I completely understand both of your perspectives. Your wife doesn't want to completely uproot both hers and the kids' lives and then do it again in 2 years. Your wife will have to rebuild her support network there. As soon as it is established, she will leave it. This sounds incredibly hard on her. From her perspective, you are chasing money at the expense of hers and your kids' happiness. How about you can offer that you can move for a while and fly back every few weeks? It's a big ask to ask someone to move. Uproot their life and children's routine, etc. She will feel stuck elsewhere and resent you for it. Nobody wants to be trying to make new friends at 35. She wants the comfort of family too. Especially her mom, and she will also feel she is abandoning her. It's very different you working and talking to people and doing your thing to her being at home with the kids knowing no one. I suspect this will be deleted as you're asking for a judgment, not advice. Is there any middle way here? Does it have to be one thing or the other? 2 years will pass quite quickly. Instead of moving the whole family, could you do a weekly commute, for example? ETA. My thinking behind this is that 2 years is barely time to build a new life, so if she's not seeing it as an adventure, it probably looks like a lot of disruption, with her highly dependent on you, who have an exciting new role to focus on, then the same in reverse. I do have some sympathy for her.